All right. The fun and financial freedom. What's today? Sunday, right? Soulful Sunday. Anybody got soul food going on after this or after all the information? We might need some soul food. I just want to. Today is what? September 20, huh? Today's September
Yes,
20,
September
2020.
20th. Yep.
9/20,
Yeah,
2020. Yep, that's it.
yeah, yeah,
Soulful
yeah.
Sunday, the fun and financial freedom. I figured I think that title works because a lot of people think financial finances, they scared it's not fun in it, right? So we want to hear
Yeah,
the
so,
fun and freedom. That sounds fun to me anyway, financial freedom, that in itself. So I'm gonna go to the event. I just wanted to read a little bit about our guests that will be providing us some information, Stephen LeBroy and Tiffany Bailey. But I'll let them kind of go into it, but I just really wanted to read a little bit of their bios. Their bio is a wealth of information in itself. So for both of them. So I'll read a little bit if you guys can get a chance. For Stephen LeBroy, which will lead us off in the
Holly,
discussion for financial freedom. A little bit about Stephen: focused, passionate, and one who delivers on his commitment. Stephen is the chief strategist of LeBroy Insurance LLC, a nationwide independent life insurance and retirement strategy firm whose mission is to close the wealth gap and create strong cash flow assets for all his clients. Executive director of the Millennial Banking Concept, a not-for-profit financial education organization that assists in teaching disruptive tools for young adults to grow their path and focus in building wealth. Also, the author of Build Your Human Equity Line of Credit: The Secrets to Creating a Lifetime of Assets in Any Economy. #1 life insurance book on Amazon, October 2018. And Stephen loves personal finances and entrepreneurship. There's a lot more information that I'll kind of touch on about him throughout the webinar. I just want to kind of give that information first so he can lead into that. And then before we get started, I'll give a little bit about Tiffany Bailey. Is known for her passion in developing deep customer relationships and her unique ability to collaborate with technical teams and creating innovative solutions that yield high customer outcomes for clients' agency missions. Specialties include certified PMP, HDI, ITIL, executive leadership, business strategy, business planning, CMMI, lean thinking, infrastructure management, systems development, and operations management. Tiffany is also a licensed life coach and takes pride in her ability to mentor and add value to lives of others. She's also an executive director in the federal civilian space with a focus on leadership, program management, client relations, and execution in information technology driven organizations. So I'll give a little bit, like I said, bits and pieces. They have such a plethora of information that is overwhelming. So, um, which is great. So, Stephen, I'll let you kind of start us off. And it's life insurance. What is it? Life insurance month, September. So I don't know if anybody knew that, but it's other than Stephen, that is life insurance month in September. So we'll let Stephen get going, and I'll watch out for anybody else who's joining as well.
hey, thank you, thank you, thank you. First of all, I appreciate this gathering of the Gary folks and folks that I've known for a while. Really, when I was almost 12, 13, 7 years old. So we've all come a long way. And what I really appreciate is that we can denote our our upbringing for pushing us forward and allowing us to be autonomous in building successful lives, creating strong families wherever we live. And that's all across the nation and all across the world. So, you know, this is more of a family affair than anything for me. And so I hope that we continue to share with one another, because I think now more than ever, it's prudent for us to share our expertise. We all have over 20 years of something in our lives that we can share with one another to help make our lives easier. So I am happy to say that I finally found my passion. I've learned over the years of being in sales and in corporate America, and you know, being thwarted into professional world, that uh, what we do every day is a foregone conclusion. That's earn income. And we learn that because most of us, if I bet you every one of us here that's listed, started making money when we were little, started having jobs when we were pre-teens, when our parents put us to work in the house, take out the garbage. That's my boy Arthur. I know he probably earned $1 to take out the garbage. So
Paper route.
yeah, paper route, everything. Because
Pop
we had to
bottles.
make some money. You know, we had to have some money, you know, so that we could have a few extra items for school. We could have a few extra things so that when we're in the neighborhood, hey, I got these new sneakers, these new, we call them gym shoes. And that's something that is in our hearts, you know, making money, income. What I finally learned is that personal finance is more important than income. And here's the reason why. They're right up there together, but personal finance versus income. Personal finance means, what do you do with the money when you make it? See, when we were young, we took it to the store, we bought our clothes, we went to, to the mall, and that's what we did with our money. And it permeates in your habits as you get older if you don't change that. If you don't understand that you need to understand more about the money that you make, the income that you bring in. So a lot of things that happen as we started to age, we started to understand we had to pay the rent. Then we started to understand we had to pay the mortgage. We had to make the car note before we got a chance to have some creature comforts in life, before we got a chance to have to be able to, you know, pay for a vacation and buy things. So again, a lot of that begins a process of our own personal growth. Now, to me, I found that it's even more important to understand personal finance strategies, because as we continue to grow in life, what we've endured since, especially us, you know, a lot of us in peer groups that have been in recession since the 70s. I just looked at a program last night that's on Netflix called Capitalism. The how to, you know, money in the 21st century, and it talked about the oil embargo in the 70s. And we were young, but we sat in the car while while gas lines were way down the block. We didn't realize that was a recession. And every decade that we've lived, there's been some kind of downturn, some kind of issue with things that we couldn't control. Our parents couldn't control it. We couldn't control it, but we had to endure it. Or you either had to react to it or you were proactive by it. So what I'm saying, and what we've learned in my company, we focus on strategy, but we use the area of life insurance to help build on that strategy, because there's another gap there. So that gap is how we've been miseducated about life insurance throughout our entire lives.
And that's a good question. Because I want to say, I think it's probably, and maybe I'm not the only one who thinks this, but I think there's a lot of misconceptions about life insurance that goes around. Oh, it's only for this. Oh, you can't use it until someone dies, or a lot of misconceptions I think that goes around life insurance. So yeah.
And I'll just tell you, this again, this is a family discussion. What made me try to figure it out was just asking the question, why? Why do other cultures use life insurance differently than we do? Just why? And when we were young, we didn't have the capacity to find out why unless somebody told us, because we didn't have the resources or the information. Now that we can research online on the internet, I had a very easier way of learning why. Why do other cultures use this product? And we just think of it for funerals, as for maybe for a little money, or we think of it negatively by saying, I'm not leaving my family anything because I'm not paying for this all my life, but somebody else can benefit from it. Those, I believe, are part of the habits and cliches and stereotypes that have led us not to use this $44 billion in reserve life insurance industry the way other cultures have used it. And the idea around it is simply this. There are contracts. When you learn how to customize and build them, it can create other benefits. And so you end up creating a focus on life insurance that supersedes when you're gone, but that you can use it while you're living. So, in my company, we try to insert life insurance in those personal finance strategies that we're talking about so that we can all create wealth that benefits us throughout our lives, that we can ride above these recessions. This pandemic that didn't happen, it happened 100 years, but we've been through all these dot-com bombs and the real estate bubble and all this other stuff. And we can really build the kind of personal finance that will eliminate a stress of, are we ready for anything that could change, or not having cash flow for the rest of our lives, and not building through the aging process, so that as we continue to get in our senior years, that one, we're comfortable, we're confident, we're able to manage our lives after we've let income go. Because at some point, income is not it goes away from you having to go get it. But the income is going to be provided by what you've done throughout your career and your life, by vehicles that you have put in place so that you can continue to exist. And then we then got to teach our kids and grandkids, because see, we're the legacy change. Our generation is legacy change because we do have access to the internet and we do have access to more information. And look, we're talking right now from across the country. And, some of us haven't seen each other since, grade school. But we can see each other, we can share, and we can tell each other these, what used to be secrets. We can unveil, we can reveal, which I love. I've always loved this platform, the information that we need to have, because we all need to, we all need to build each other up. So I don't know if there's any questions, if you want to talk about anything specific, because I can get into it very specific, but sometimes it gets long and drawn out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want you to share, because I think you and Tiffany, it kind of intersects with different things that you do. So kind of toggle between both. But I do want to, before we get to Tiffany as well, make sure that you give out, because this is a recording, make sure you give out your book information, the name, the website, and all of that information as well. But I think too, we talked about misconceptions. It's probably in your book. I think sometimes maybe a misconception, or what I've heard, probably what I felt at one time, maybe not now, but what people have felt. And I guess, like you said, no question, not asking is not the best way. But like, what can people do or invest in, or some of that, or if we need to come back, or anything you want to share? But like, if you make not a great amount of money, not six figures, 50,000, 60,000, 40,000 for that matter. That someone may say, well, I make 40,000. I can't afford to be buying life insurance. I'm barely, making it, or whatever. I think some of those conceptions need to be cleared up a little bit.
No, and I appreciate that. You know, I've often thought about that because, you know, I work with everybody at every income level. It doesn't matter because it's not about them buying life insurance. It's about them learning strategy first.
Mhm.
So no matter
Strategy.
what income level, it's about strategy. Because the first thing, the classes that we didn't have that I remember, you know, was money management. You know, money management. The big thing in this country that we have to be able to guard against is distractions. We are hit with thousands of, now more than ever because of the internet, of things to do, things to buy, things to see, things to spend money on, things that you can, that can dissuade you from being positive about your life because you say, well, I can't afford this Bentley and everybody's got this. Let me tell you something. We try to pare down a person's personal situation to get them to a strategy that they can manage with their household. Because I'll say this, and this is real. There's a game called the Cash Flow Game, and it's by Robert Kiyosaki, the guy who authored Rich Dad Poor Dad. You know, he's on a whole nother level with his political thing, but the stuff that he taught early on helped me. The person who makes the least amount of money ends up winning the game. And let me tell you why. It's because they have the least amount of debt and they have the least amount of obstructions and understanding of how to manage debt. When a lot of people that make a lot of money end up absorbing a lot of debt and have habits that take them way above their income. When you have smaller income, you can begin a very targeted approach. It seems like a big sacrifice, but a very targeted approach to begin a process of doing what Tiffany is going to talk about, starting a business. You can begin by, finding a way to buy a rental property. You can begin by building assets, insurance products. I have clients who spend $50 a month, and I have clients who spend $12,000 a month, and everywhere in between. They're contracts that are customized, that create benefits for you, that can actually create savings, and it also creates an asset. And let me just mention this real quick. An insurance policy with cash value in it is considered a collateralized asset. A collateralized asset in our portfolio increases our net worth. When you increase your net worth, you create the capacity for financial institutions to look at your situation and say, you are credit worthy. We can probably loan you some money to do something. You have to think about how to build strategy. And we all got to not live above our means. We all have to always try to live 70 to 90% of what we're making. And it may be tight. But again, with strategy, you begin to build. And you can build. And you can build. It's just about absorbing the information, us sharing with each other. There's ways around it. You do not have to figure anything out. You have to find out. Find out. And the way to find out is to be at these types of forums. Make sure that you're hearing what people are saying and asking the extra question that you discussed, today. So I appreciate that question.
Good, good. Did anybody else have a question before we get into Tiffany? And you can think about it and come back, 'cause we're going to come back to Steve. And and that was a good segue into leading into that. But any other questions for Stephen? Or if you
So
have some, think
you
about it.
mentioned that you wrote a book and about personal finance. And I'm just wondering, how does your book compare, if it even compares, to becoming your own banker?
That's
Which kind
good.
of does a little bit, kind of talks through what you kind of have talked about today, which is using life insurance as for capital, for example, right? So how does your book compare to that book?
No, I so appreciate that. a lot of what I've gotten from that book, which was the Nucleus book that I read, is some of the things that are in my book, because I just believe that, you know, what Nelson Nash wrote in Become Your Own Bank, I just wanted to translate that to us, you know, and speak to my people and make it very plain as, you know, as it relates to how we think about life insurance. And so it's very comparable. And I also offer 20 other books in my book list that I give to my clients. Because again, to me, Tiffany, this is an area that's underutilized by us. It's so not understood well, because it's been, you know, over 175 years in this country. Life insurance has been fed to us as just a means of burying your family members, and it's not. It's so not. And so, you know, it compares very clearly to Become Your Own Bank. Yeah.
Stephen, can you, I'm sorry, and you can go, but just mention your book or website or where they could get it
Okay.
at, just so
Sorry
we
about that.
have that.
Yeah, the book is Build Your Human Equity Line of Credit. Build Your Human Equity Line of Credit. It's my patented or trademark term, and you can get it on Amazon, Kindle, Audible.com for those people that like to listen to books, and StephenLeBroy.com, where I'll mail it to you and sign it for you. My website is LeBroy Insurance Group, LeBroyInsuranceGroup.com, and you can find me on all the social media platforms, either by my name or by LeBroy Insurance Group, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and the like. So I really love talking about this because it's really customized to the individual person, to the individual's family. You know, I have meetings coming up with entire family units who want to reclaim an understanding of life insurance, like the Disneys or the Waltons or Walmart. These big families have life insurance underneath the money that they make in certain ways. So again, I'm gonna be here for the whole time. So I'm looking forward to this whole group.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you. And we'll come back. We have some questions too. So that moves right into one of my favorites too as well, small business, entrepreneurship, because that's financial freedom as well. So you can take it away, sitting pretty back there, Tiffany Bailey.
Sure, absolutely. You have to allow me
Oh,
to
give you your, yeah. So you can share your screen. You should receive that access.
All right.
Wonderful.
I will walk you guys through, and I won't take you through the entire slide deck, but I'm happy to share it with everyone, Audrey. So I'll talk to you about living your passion, or live with your passion, and let your vision guide you through starting a small business. So a lot of times people struggle in that area with just getting started, right? And so a few things that I'll talk to you today about is just identifying your current skill set, ideation, whatever market research is necessary, developing a business strategy, and then determining your financials, as Stephen LeBroy mentioned earlier. I think that people sometimes get lost in the idea that they may make 30, 40, 50 grand a year. And so they just don't have that room to start a business, right? That extra capital. So the first thing is to identify your skill set, and some of the characteristics of an entrepreneur you guys can see here. But with identifying your skill set, as Stephen mentioned, he said he's passionate. He's found his passion. And so what we all know about identifying your skill set, what you're most passionate about, is the things that you're most passionate about, you'll kind of stick with it. right? I think that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with hearing things word of mouth, like for example, I've seen here in the last 3 months where there was that thing on social media where you put a certain amount of money into something, right? And then they cut you a check every 3 or 4 months or every month and you double your money. And I think that again, a lot of people just get caught up in what they hear and what they think works. So it's really important to understand your strengths, what you're passionate about as you're considering to, moving towards starting a business. The other thing is, as you write, and I'm a firm believer in planning, right? So that's really critical and crucial to the success of your business.
What's up there, gorgeous?
Sometimes you know yourself, sometimes you don't know yourself. So what I would always suggest for new entrepreneurs is to conduct a survey, so ask the people who are either close to you or just around you to tell you a little bit about yourself. Where do they feel that you are passionate about or passionate in the areas? What do they feel like are your strengths? And take a few of those, collect some of that feedback and compare it to what you have identified. Just to kind of see what people think about you, right? Because you may get a different perspective. And even though it's about you understanding your passion, sometimes it's good to just get collect the buy-in or get feedback from other people. The next thing is ideation. So finding a great idea for a product or service, can definitely be a challenge, but you want to list out, some product niches, right? Or categories that you're interested in the most, because again, as Stephen mentioned, trying a focused approach to start would kind of keep you on the right path, and it'll help you not become discouraged. For example, you want to ask yourselves a lot of questions, like, and I keep going back because Stephen hit on a lot of great points. So asking yourselves, questions, what, why, how, those things are really, really important. So why do you want to start this business? Are you trying to make some extra money, or are you trying to solve a problem? And then you want to think about how unique your product or your service is compared to the market. So, and how easy is it for competitors to enter the market in which you're trying to enter? So again, do a lot of homework up front so that you understand the competitive landscape, and also so that you understand your why. The next thing is the market research. And again, I kind of talked a little bit about this, but specifically, there are some very good websites out here that do web traffic statistics and analytics. And I think a lot of times, again, we don't invest the time to do those things. So I listed a few here. And then I also listed out that, it's really important to create your buyer persona. So even if you're, whether you're offering a product or a service, you need to understand the customer demographics, their behavior patterns, what motivates them, their goals. Are they like you? A lot of times we tend to, when we are marketing or selling a product, we target people who are a little bit more like us, but then there's a whole nother world out here, people who are not like us, who could benefit from the product or the service that we have to offer. So I think that it's really important to go through the exercise to complete 2 or 3 personas. And I do this when I coach. It's really, really important. I think it helps, right? Because again, it reveals characteristics about people that you would have kind of maybe missed if you didn't do this exercise. Then I've also listed here developing a segmentation strategy. So the minimum, small enough to dominate, whether or not it's viable. So you want to do that. And is your business iterative enough to where you can make changes? As we've seen in the last 6 months, we've moved to this max telework posture where most of the country is operating in a virtual environment. And I think that some of the companies that did not ensure that their business was flexible enough and iterative to the point where they could make changes quickly on the fly to adjust to the new environment or the new norm, they are the ones that are now kind of suffering and doing not as good. So I think that there's a lesson learned behind all of this. And I think that, overall, a lot of companies will improve in the future. But again, doing these things up front helps your business. And I'll just skip through here and just kind of talk about the strategy. So some elements or essential elements to building a great story: you want character, you know, defining a character as well, with a problem, for example, meets a guide, who gives them a plan, right? And then calls them to action that could result in one or two things, either success or failure. So again, that's why the developing a business strategy, a business plan, or something is so important. The thing that I wanted to share that I've done the most research in the last 7 or 8 months was determining, you know, your financials. So Stephen is going to tell us how to take loans out against our own money, but I wanted to share some things that are out here for small businesses. For example, there are microloans that are usually offered for up to $35,000. Then you have these opportunity funds, these organizations that offer a variety of like microloans, right? And then you have other organizations out here that will provide a loan for as much as less as 500 and as much as 50,000. So again, I think that these are kind of like last resorts. That, I mean, I would always push a new entrepreneur into giving their the people around them like early stock options, like for example, or either a percentage 1 or 0.5% in their company to invest in them early if it's something they truly believe in. They feel like they're going to make money. I mean, that's kind of what we all like to do. But again, if you don't have support within your inner circle, then you have these other avenues to kind of go for capital. And then the other thing is just launching your business, reviewing your business taxes, making your business legal. I mean, I can't stress this enough, whether or not you're opening a store, making sure you have the proper permits and you're registered with the county and all of those things. I mean, it's so important to make your business legal. And because this is Life Insurance Awareness Month, also making sure your business have insurance, right? We often don't think about what goes wrong until something goes wrong. And then that insurance is a safety net for your business. And selling your product and keeping your customers happy. So a few tips for success that I've listed here, really briefly here, is be prepared to wear many hats. I mean, starting a business, you are going to be your marketing person, your research person, you're the CEO, you're the frontline worker. You're going to wear many, many hats. And I think it's important that you have a network of people, even if you don't have people within, like people that you know, to reach out, like for example, your local chamber of commerce, find mentors. There are many people out here that will mentor you for nothing. Small business groups. There are so many communities now where you can just get one or two little useful tips, right? That'll kind of help you along your journey. And then I always tell new entrepreneurs to join Toastmasters, at least consider it, because Toastmasters, you know, and over the years, I think that people have thought of Toastmasters as being kind of like the political arena where politicians join so that they can critique their speaking and those sorts of things. But I think business managers, just everyone could benefit from joining Toastmasters, because at a minimum, I think that it helps you with captivating your audience, with keeping their attention, and just overall improves your communication. The other thing, most importantly, is set aside 1 to 2 hours a day for 30 days. So you need to know how committed you are with making your business successful, right? Or even building your business. So no days off, no interruptions, no exceptions, no, I got to do this today, I don't have time. Like, dedicate that 1 to 2 hours to yourself and be committed to it. Because if you can do that for 30 days straight, it teaches you a little bit about yourself, as well as kind of sets the stage for what's to come next, right? So if you can be committed to giving yourself those 1 or 2 hours, I think that would help you a great deal. The other thing is entrepreneurship is a stream of income. I think you talked about this a little bit, Audrey, and you said we need to make sure that it can successfully work for us. So I mentioned a few things here. Get to know your customer base, familiarize yourself with tax laws. I talked a little bit about that. ensuring that your business is set up appropriately. Consider whether or not you need to purchase insurance. I would always tell people to purchase insurance. I think that we live in a world where people are just looking to sue you, even if you don't have much. They just they're looking to get rich, right? So you want to ensure that you have some business insurance. The other thing is creating an accounting system. So even if it's just you starting out your business and you're using your own personal funds, I think that you should still have an accounting system to hold yourself accountable and also for tracking. And it's also good for tax purposes. The other thing is be professional with family, friends, customers, people that you interact with, regardless of who they are. I think that a lot of entrepreneurs will maintain a certain level of professionalism with people that they don't know, but then with family members, they're a little bit more relaxed. I think that going into a business, starting a business, is really important to treat every customer, even if it's your sister, your spouse, as if they're your customers. So if you would normally gift wrap something for your customers and have special wrapping, you want to give your family member the same thing, right? Because they're taking the time out to purchase from you. And then also that's the potential to have a repeat customer. So I think that the most important thing is ensuring that you're professional with everyone that you work with. The other thing is don't be afraid to fail and let technology work for you. And I'll stop sharing. And what I mean by letting technology work for you is when there's an easier way to do something, like there's so many technology groups and just kind of like hubs. For example, Fiverr. My daughter created a logo on Fiverr. She found, I don't know, some developer she was working with. She paid $10 for her logo, and the logo looks great, right? So finding those avenues in which you don't have to spend a lot of money up front, but at least it's enough to kind of get you started, right? So those are some of my takeaways. And again, I've learned, I capture lessons learned with everything that I do. Again, I can't stress it enough, treating your business like a profession, because it is a profession, right? So if you capture lessons learned on the job so that you grow from every experience, you want to do the same thing with your business. Capture lessons learned weekly, right? And then you want to plan for the next week. What do I want to accomplish? Who do I want to talk to? Who do I need to get in front of? All of these things are really important and critical for your business success. Questions?
That was good. That was good. I think for me, with both information is a challenge. I like the challenge. I always want to push myself, to go more. So the challenge of, and I mean, I try to do this anyway, but to really focus when you said the 1 to 2 hours for 30 days, because it's easy to get distracted. What I've learned in time management and what people think, we all have the same 24 hours. You don't get 36, you don't get 48, you don't get 12. We all have the same time. What do we do with it? There's always going to be something. What's distracting us from not doing it? Or it goes back to those things of, it's like grit, the passion, the interest, all of that. So I think that's a challenge for me, for some of the things, to really make sure how much do I want to set myself up and my family and my grandkids for financial freedom. What does that look like me doing every day if it's just an hour? What is it with my business that I want to make sure that I'm doing every hour? So for me, both will go hand in hand, the financial freedom and my own business and my entrepreneurship. What am I doing every day, especially at this point in my life? I mean, when you get to my age, even though you look great as I do, I give my own self a compliment, but you do. I'm going to say you will start thinking a little, thank you, honey. You will think a little bit differently. Am I too old to do this? Should I not? Maybe it's not, maybe I've missed out. Maybe I shouldn't. How fast can I get it? Things like that, where I know things take time, but it's these little groups, as Stephen said, as you said, no matter what, it's small, big, large, in a sense, mastermind type of sessions that you have so that you can understand. So sorry for going on a bit, but that was good for me. So anybody else can please chime in.
I have a question, comment. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Tiffany, that was great. Thank you very much. It was a lot of good information. The first thing, one of the just simple things that you said that I liked was towards the end when you talked about treating family members and close friends the same way as you do business associates. I thought that was very important to me because I think what you said is a good point, that we can treat one set of people a certain way and treat another set of people another way. And if you don't, seeming to me, if you don't use the same traits or same qualities with both sets of people, then you're gonna get, off balance. So you're gonna be doing it too much on one end and not enough on the other. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I tell people that all the time. I mean, you're training. If you're not that person today, you're essentially training for the person that you want to become. So be that person all the time.
All the time.
For example, I'll give you something really quickly here, and I know we're on time. When I was working for the FDIC, I would be so stressed out at work, but I was in a very high intense professional environment. We were, Obama had just came in office. Everyone was so proud to just be, right, an African American, right? And at the time I said, I'm changing something about myself. I'm not going to use any negative language at work and no profanity, right? And I said, at some point I would spend 9 to 10 hours a day at work operating in that manner. And so I said, if I can do that at work, I can do it at home too. I can do it when I'm out and about. So I think that, again, it's a mind shift, and also you're training yourself for the person that you want to become. So I'm professional at all times. I was on early, Audrey will tell you, trying to make sure things were set up and everything, because
I heard you.
This is a job. You take it very seriously, right? And people will then in return take you seriously.
And a quick question, could you just speak just a small bit, I know we're on time, about what maybe what you know or what you suggest the differences between for-profit and nonprofit? What tips or what intricacies or anything that you could say about those two things? Let's say if you're trying to do both, you know what I mean? Or you're doing one and you're thinking about doing the other. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I would say the most important thing is definitely keeping that separate accounting system, right? Because the government definitely monitors and audits the nonprofit, and is a little bit more close attention on ensuring that you have your ducks in a row. So if you guys, I know we're kind of pressed for time, but I met a guy, I met him through someone, believe it or not, 16 years in the Air Force. I would be happy to bring him on board to talk to you guys. He has been running a nonprofit for the last 6 years. He and his wife have the largest food bank online shelter. Okay. And he says it's so challenging when you're starting up your 501 because there's so much red tape. Right, because, and again, you're also taxed different than what you're taxed having a for-profit, right? So that's why you want to make sure your paperwork, your accounting, and how you're going to run your business, how you're going to pay people, how you're going to take donations and things like that. You want to make sure that stuff is heavily documented and it's in its right place. So I will make that introduction to you to meet this guy. Okay. And believe it or not, he's going to do I'm starting a charity as well. So he's working on helping me. And the only thing that he asked was for a $75 donation to his charity. Okay. Again, I was mentioning this just really early, talking to someone on my walk. The wealthiest people in the world will walk you through something step by step, give you their contacts, and walk away. It's the people that don't have as much money or that they're so afraid of you moving an inch further than them, ahead of them, that want to hold everything, right? So I'm positioning myself to be wealthy. So therefore, anything that I know and everything that I know, I'm sharing it on the dot. Right. I'm sending you an email with this guy's information. I'm gonna make an introduction because I'm having a Zoom call with him next week. And you're more than welcome to join. All right, thank you. Then I had a quick question for Steve too, that I didn't get earlier. Go ahead though.
Good. I didn't. I had my mic on mute. But go ahead, Xavier. I had a question for Tiffany that I wanted to ask about. What's your take on crowdfunding as a way of sourcing money for business?
Honestly, I'm still doing a little bit of research on that. Again, I try to offer all of the avenues so that people don't feel like I'm withholding information. but I need to get back with you on that one because I feel like I'm still in the research phase. There's some positive and there's some negatives, but I just don't know enough about it to give you everything, you know, bring it full circle.
Okay,
But I can follow up on that.
thanks.
Yeah, Stephen, real quick, you were talking about insurance, and I just was wondering about your thoughts, the difference between like term life insurance and whole and like cash, what is it, cash value life insurance? Because it sounds like to me what you were talking about was cash value life insurance.
Right. So just to make these categories very plain, so they are categories. Term is one category, and permanent is
Mhm.
the other category. So underneath permanent is whole life, index universal life, variable universal life. Those are all types of cash value life insurance policies.
Okay.
Term sits on its own, and it has a couple different products, but mostly term is very easy because it's set up for a time frame. It's less expensive in the beginning for whatever the term is, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, then the price goes up. And it's set specifically really to replace income in case of somebody passing away, because there's no cash value in term.
Okay.
Permanent life insurance, based on the type of product that you look at, has various, and it's a little more complex because it has various has various components to each one of those products. That's where we can create the most strategy
Okay.
for you to benefit while you're living.
Okay.
So that's that. Yeah,
Thank you for that. Thank you.
no problem. I did want to say that I really appreciate you guys and all of us getting together, because Tiffany's process of building a business is so important to people building wealth, you know. And then what I feel like we marry is then what do you do with the money once you make it? Because both entities really go together. And because once the money comes out of your business as income to you, or distribution to you, you know, or stock to you, how do you manage it once you make it? So together, it's like it's a great 1-2 punch.
Absolutely, I agree. And that's what I thought about, you know, that for me, both meant a lot, you know, and I want to know more about both, really. Even having my own business, still don't know. It's probably things that I still need to learn or get better at, and especially understanding what's enough insurance to go along with your business, because you're right. It could be an event that I have, someone could fall and get hurt or whatever. And then they could say, well, I'm suing Real Women Reveal. Well, do I have insurance to cover that? Did I just say, oh, I'm having an event and I'm going to have it at this place and it's just going to be great, and I'm not thinking about anything else but about an event? So there's lots that goes into that, and you're right. It's for entrepreneurship, I know, and understanding, it's always, you know, it's like a 24/7 business. You know, you do wear many hats. You the CEO, you the accountant, you the marketer, you're the social media strategist, you're everybody, and sometimes you forget those things. So thank you for that, both of you
Let me
guys. Go ahead,
just
Stephen.
I'm gonna mention one thing so that I can give to everybody some things that I find.
Okay.
Because even as an insurance broker, I'm a business owner. And the one thing I find a lot of business owners and individuals don't have is an umbrella policy. And they're called different things by different companies, but an umbrella policy. Go to your company that sells auto and homeowners and ask them for a quote on umbrella. What it basically does is it supersedes the limits on your auto and homeowners policies in case something happens. And if it happens in your business and somebody wants to come after you personally, you have an umbrella. That's why they call it an umbrella policy. And normally they're about $100 on average, $150 on average per $1 million worth of coverage. My doctor clients might have $3 million, so they may pay $400 a year. Yeah, not a month, a year. So as you have a business and somebody, you know, you just never know, they may try to, if you have a car accident or something, they find out, oh, you own a business. We need to, we want to go through the, you know, to you personally. That umbrella, I always keep that no matter what I'm doing, because it gives me a sense of peace. This is outside of your business insurances that are reflective of the specific business and activity that you're doing. But umbrella policy just kind of sits over the top of my personal assets, my home, my car, my anything that I own personally to help protect me and, you know, from any liability. So I just wanted to share that with as this, you know, recording goes around.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I've heard of umbrella, you know, insurance by working at a financial institute, institute, but never maybe in that depth. And you're right. It's kind of like, oh yeah, right. You know, see the things that you may have heard in passing or thinking, you forget about it. So that's good. That's good. Any other questions, or we'll just be mindful of the time? Yeah.
I just want Stephen to walk me through at some point how to take out a loan against my own life insurance to buy a house.
I can do that.
So as you guys know, I mean, everybody knows you buy a house, you're talking 30-year mortgage. The first maybe 10 years you're paying on interest. You don't even touch the house. So I want to buy a house and borrow money from myself, and I want to pay it off in 10 years. And I want to do that through, because I was reading a little bit about that in the Becoming Your Own Banker. So essentially, I would like to walk through that process.
That's great. I want to be in on that one as well. But that, I mean, you know, maybe an hour sessions. I know you guys, you know, as consultants and what you do, you giving back from your own business, a free hour of knowledge. So that's appreciative, because I know going to webinars, as you guys know, we've been to them, Tamara, you pay money to get information, as you should. However, I appreciate giving maybe an hour of your time just to, you know, give information to our community, individuals, and then hopefully individuals that we continue to have these will reach out to you in some type of consultant capacity or whatever. So it leads to different things. It's not always just a one-stop shop.
Right.
I mean, you know, one hit it thing. I've been here. I don't know you. I won't connect again or whatever. But you guys know what I'm saying. So maybe we can figure out maybe an hour on Sunday, a soulful Sunday type of feeding the soul or mind or something that we can just connect for an hour on some topics.
Okay.
Any other questions? Anybody? Oh, go ahead, Tamara.
So this question is for Stephen first. And listening to you, I've been going back and forth with life insurance, and I've been paying for years. And then just recently, my insurance agent that I've been with for over 20 years was telling me that I can get this policy where I would pay, I think it's like $150 a month for 20 years. Now, mind you, I'm 57. So for 20 years, and then at the end of that 20-year term, I'm going to get everything that I paid into it back, but I'm not going to have any more life insurance. But at that point, if I paid in $50,000 within that time frame, I'm going to get all that back. And at that point, that's kind of, it's not a cash. I don't know. Are you familiar with that? Because I'm thinking, is that a good thing? Because I know our life expectancy for women, I should be here for another 20 years, but
well,
I'm making into that.
One thing that I say to anybody with life insurance, it's a contract. So we got to know what type of policy it is. What initially it sounds like is what is called a return of premium product.
Yes.
Right. And so the key is that a strategy that you really are needing at this time of what you want going, you know, through the aging process, because
Right.
whether you want the money back or not, or whether, the other aspects of the policy get engaged, it really depends on what is your financial strategy as you age, and how does that really benefit you. If you have other policies, you need to take inventory of all of the policies you have and create a strategy for the aging process. Does that policy have long-term care attached to it? Does that policy have accelerated benefits, which means that you can access money in the policy for critical illness, chronic illness, or terminal illness? To me, it's an assessment, because so again, this is family, and I'm just flat out say it. Where I have a problem is people not understanding what they're buying versus being sold a product. Products are different than strategies. We know that the aging process has not changed since time. We're moving into another realm of our lives. And what does that mean? That means that we have the potential of having health challenges. We had a potential of not having income. We had a potential of having to manage our debt. We had a potential of going through other recessions in the coming decades. And how do these contracts fit? How do they manage against your cash flow? What are you gonna, be able to use to cover food, clothing, and shelter? We try to take in consideration all of that before we look at a product that fits where you're going. And a lot of it is speculative, but it's speculative with research. We know that as we age, certain factors are going to be laid upon us. We may not be at our same job. We may not be operating our business at that time. We may still have retirement plans sitting to the left. We may have, monies in banks. You have to consider a lot of other factors before you start looking at individual products and see how they fit with everything else. That's my point on that, Tamara.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank
I think that, and I think I'm hearing you what you're saying. So some things could fit for people, but what's the strategy? It's the strategy. That's the word I'm hearing. So that could be a great policy for somebody, but is it a great policy for you, Tamara? Is what, you know what I'm saying? So maybe for somebody else, it's perfect. Maybe for you, not so much. And I'm not saying that, but just trying to understand what Stephen's saying, the strategy behind it.
It would have been better maybe 10, 15 years ago to do that and put it in some type of savings for so much for that burial. So, because I totally believe in life insurance. I have policies. I have policies on a friend. I have policy on my children. So I totally believe in that. And I do understand the cash value because I do have some of those too. And they work. So, but this is another one that just had come up. But I'm thinking maybe I could do that for like a younger, one of my, maybe get them into it because they're younger. So in 20 years, you pay on it. And it may be something that they will totally be able to utilize years from, even 20 years from now.
Right.
Because times are changing and it's different now. But I do totally support life insurance. And I want everyone to have it for one reason or another, even if it's just to take care of themselves when the time comes. Even
if you need any other information, just reach out.
Okay.
Do you have some, Xavier?
Oh yeah, question for Stephen. Is it good to what's your thoughts on just combining like your auto, your life insurance, those kind of combo things? What's your thoughts on that?
That's always interesting because companies definitely created a marketing strategy by saying, do combine everything and we give you a deal. My flat out interest on that is this. auto, homeowners, and in most instances, business insurance are a must do. You know, the law states we have to do it. Life insurance is the only insurance that's optional.
Right.
And that's another one of those why things that I had to discover. Why is that optional when we're talking about generational wealth or we're talking about managing money while we're living? You know, my thing is auto and homeowners is more of a commodity, in my opinion. I quote mine every year to try to save a little money. If I save $200 a month on my auto and homeowners, I move it into my life insurance because that's what's going to give my family the biggest bang. Now, my auto and my homeowners is just going to go away when I leave here. My family's going to benefit from my life insurance. So, you know, if you're saving money, really, then that makes sense. If you're quoting it and you can save money somewhere else, save money and get the same coverages.
Mm-hmm.
Don't shirk on your coverages because even with umbrella policies, sometimes those companies require you to have a certain level of coverage on your auto and your homeowners to qualify for the umbrella policy.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So that's when it becomes strategy. But if I'm saving money on my auto and homeowners, like I went from a big company to a regional company, got the same coverages, saved $1,000 a year. Move that $1,000 into my savings, my investments, and my life insurance, where I get the biggest bang.
Right.
So, you know, it can work, but I think that, you know, don't get caught in, I always tease by saying, let's not get caught in the TV commercials, you know, versus what comes back in our own pocket.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. That's good information. Thank
That
you.
was good. That was good. That's really good. So we went over about we didn't start till about an hour. So, I mean, this is great. I appreciate Stephen and Tiffany taking out the time to enrich our minds where we need it. So I look forward to sharing again. I mean, sharing is caring, right? Right? Wealth, knowledge, that's the only way to build. So hopefully maybe next time we can maybe bring somebody else that we know that is enthusiastic about or serious about what we're talking about and bring them into the conversation, not only to help them, but maybe to help us. I think building and networking is going to be really, really important with like-minded people or on that same wavelength or trying to get to that same wavelength is what I want to say. So thank you guys. I'll share the information. I'll figure out how to get it from the cloud and then I'll share because it was some great information we can all share. But any last thoughts from Tiffany or Stephen as we're closing out?
Where is Tiffany located?
I'm in Virginia.
Oh, you're in Virginia? Okay. I need some assistance. So I want to just, hey, reach out, get some information.
Anytime, actually.
Yeah.
I'm a late nighter. So, I mean, if it's 9 o'clock your time, I think it's midnight. I'm up at midnight.
Yeah.
So a lot of the companies I work with, they're in China and Guangzhou and other parts of Asia. So, I mean, it's a 12-hour difference. And so like Audrey mentioned, you know, sometimes you're wearing many hats. So I'm up at 12 midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, doing warehouse tours with potential vendors, right? Because I want to walk through their warehouse. And so we're on FaceTime and they're giving me a tour because it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon for them. And I'm dressed, right? I'm ready to rock and roll at 1 a.m. And then after that, I'm going to bed. But I mean, sometimes that's what my nights look like, right?
Wow.
So, you know.
We'll have her back as a feature too for Real Women Reveal, some other things that we're doing that we can get really personal into maybe what's not necessarily specific for women, but some things, you know, women in business, how that looks and different things. So, but go ahead, Stephen, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll set up I'll reach out to Michael to get some times for the Zoom meeting for next week. And then you tell me what times work for you. I'm going to try to shoot for the evenings.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask him like maybe between 6 and 9. So that's Eastern time. So I don't know how that works for you, but just, you know, whatever days, let me know what days work for you. And then we can both jump on a Zoom call with him and talk through the 501, the setup.
And I sent it to, I'll send it to Xavier as well. I know we were talking about that guy this morning before we got on the call, so that's
Yep.
good.
I'll get that set up.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Nationwide, so anybody you guys know need help with insurance, and my whole point is conversation, education first.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You know, we need to know about this first, whether they do business with me or not. I'm
Right.
licensed in about 45 states, so I did that on purpose so that I can focus on those individuals who really want to know what I've been able to learn, you know, what other cultures do with these products. So, hey, thank you for this day. This has been extremely, extremely helpful and great for all of us, I think, because I'm learning more about you being in business as well. And I'm going to be calling you, Tiffany, offline.
Okay.
And so, you know, thanks, Arthur. And I appreciate it. Sunday.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Audrey.
right, thank you. All right, thank
Okay.
you.
You guys have a great afternoon. Okay.
You too.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
All right, you guys have a good day.